All right, hello everyone. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin here. Three of us. We got Forrest Total, GenZBTC, and Dan from Bitcoin Reactions. What do you guys want to get started with? I mean, this week's been absolutely crazy with Bitcoin.
Is
I
there
guess
anything that we can't? I feel like there's only one option, right?
yeah,
After everything that's been happening today.
I think you're
So,
right.
uh, I mean, how do you guys feel about? Let's say what it is, Forrest. How would you describe what happened today as a not American?
Well, the U.S. president has pumped some bags. That's what I've seen. Trump posted on Truth Social about a crypto strategic reserve, I think is his words. We actually have the tweet here. I can bring it up. And yeah, I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on this? This is what they've posted here. U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Sol, and ADA. I will make sure the US is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. And he retweeted or retruthed with and obviously BTC and ETH as other valuable cryptocurrencies will be the heart of the reserve. I also love Bitcoin and Ethereum.
So, first question that I have for you two: Are any of you guys actually surprised by this?
No, unfortunately,
Yeah,
which
not
is
really.
very sad, but
So it's interesting, right? So my perspective is that exactly, I'm not surprised either. And the reason why I'm not surprised is because how many weeks ago did he create his own crypto shitcoin?
It was like a couple days before January 20th when he was inaugurated, like literally like 3 days before. So
And
17th, I guess.
before that, he has his own history with NFTs. I think they were on Solana or Ethereum. I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
And then when you add into the fact that David Sachs has a huge involvement with a lot of the companies that he specifically mentioned, he was an early investor in Sol. I don't know if he was an early investor in Cardano and Ripple, but I think he still has major holdings in them.
Yeah. I mean, when
I'm
you're a
not surprised.
VC, you're gonna pick up a lot of crypto stuff during that whole ICO era, right? Like, that was like they were getting those tokens instead of equity. And you know, they were doing like there's clips from the All In podcast where David Sachs is trying to like talk to Chamath about buying his soul, right? It's
Yeah.
OTC type deals, which happens all the time with private equity, right? Before shares go public, you can trade private shares back and forth and there's market for it. But um with crypto VC, it's like there's a market immediately upon the creation of these tokens. So yeah, I mean it's incentives, right? Like everyone around Donald Trump, in my opinion, they're all shit coiners. It's like people have talked, oh, this is our first or the first Bitcoin president. No, it's the first crypto president. And this is all just par for the course, in my opinion.
Yeah.
yeah,
Go for
no,
it.
I feel the same way. Again, pretty much he did a bailout of the crypto industry. I've got some numbers right here. Bitcoin's up 8.6%, ETH up 11.75, XRP 31, Solana 21, Cardano 68. I know the bag holders got to be happy about that one. And again, even Peter Schiff knows, and we can pull up that tweet next. Peter Schiff is literally saying, hey, I kind of understand the meaning of a Bitcoin strategic reserve since it's digital gold, but why do we have a strategic reserve of these American-based companies? Some of them are based out of the EU because I believe XRP actually originated in Europe. But either way, we're using these centralized coins that have really no true utility, and people are going to continue to find this out. And I think one of the benefits of this whole thing is that people are going to continue to realize firsthand that there's Bitcoin and there's everything else. So even with a reserve of all this other garbage mixed into Bitcoin, you're going to find that Bitcoin's the only one that's continuing to eat all the other random ship coins as we call them. You know, I believe it was Seyfedina Moose or maybe Natalie Brunell on Twitter who said that this is the equivalent of making a really, really nice homemade spaghetti and then just pouring a bunch of store brand ketchup into it, you know, and then mixing it up. You know, you're ruining it, you know, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
you
then
got
I
the ketchup
think,
right behind you, though, man.
yeah, I think,
Come on, this is for burgers, not for spaghetti.
I think Safety responded to that saying that it wasn't spaghetti, that Bitcoin wasn't spaghetti. It was like a nice Wagyu steak.
Yeah.
No, but this is really unfortunate, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. One of the big things that I feel, and I feel like this, you know, Forrest, we talked about this the other day, but the United States is really more of a kleptocracy than anything else. It's a society that's run by thieves and scammers, and we're kind of in the golden age of grift. So this, unfortunately, makes, you know, is totally par for the course. So what I'm curious now is, how does this actually set itself up? Is United States going to be printing new dollars to be buying all these different cryptos? Are we going to do it some other way? I know in Cynthia Lummis's bill, the whole point was to sell gold, or at least like sell gold certificates in order to pay for new Bitcoin buys. How do you think this is going to work itself out?
It would just have to be speculation at this point. I imagine we'll probably hear a little bit more about how this will actually get created at the crypto summit that's supposed to happen on, I believe, on the 7th of March. So next Friday, I think, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways they could do it. I mean, they could literally, they could tax other things. They could use, like, even the tariffs are an additional tax, right? Like maybe they could use part of that to fund different parts of their strategic crypto reserve, or maybe even put that into their sovereign wealth fund. Maybe these things commingle. I don't know. Like, I don't really have a good answer for that question, to be honest, because it does seem like, yeah, where does the funds come? I mean, maybe they'll just maybe they'll just tell Garlic House and Charles to just give them to them. Like, what does it matter to them, right? It costs them nothing to get XRP and ADA. Just take it by force. I mean, why not? Like, it's literally nothing.
How pissed off would you guys be if the money from the tariffs ended up going to Ripple?
I mean, I just don't see that happening. Like, the whole point of XRP is kind of diminished since we now have stablecoins. You know, XRP was invented in a time where there was no USDT or USDC. You know, and even if they were to use Ripple for whatever reason, one, you're just adding more friction to the transaction because you have to transfer from whatever money. Let's just say you're taxing the EU. You go from euros to XRP to then send the XRP to the United States and then just turn it into dollars. You know, we've been doing cross-border payments without the advent of XRP since like the dawn of online banking. You know, so that's the first thing. Secondly, again, if they use XRP, you're not holding it for a long time. You're buying it literally to sell it into whatever your local currency is. So the price wouldn't even really, the volume would be higher, but the price wouldn't really appreciate for that reason. You know, XRP appreciates based on hype. And, you know, they hire a lot of little influencers on TikTok mostly. And that's really all that is. I'm more curious about what you guys think. What will the percentage breakdown be? You know, so let's put it this way. We're going to go ahead with the crypto asset reserve. It's going to be 60% BTC, 10% XRP, 10% ETH. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think that looks like? Because I personally think that they're going to go like maybe 60, 70% BTC, which is crazy, you know, and then the rest of it's going to be a bunch of different ship coins, meme coins, trash coins, scam coins. Even Brian Armstrong, he's the CEO of the crypto casino Coinbase. I'm pretty sure he just recently came out saying it probably makes sense to make a Bitcoin only reserve. I'm not sure if that was a tweet or what it was. I saw it on the BTC Times. And even the guy who's running the casino said, hey, maybe we shouldn't be gambling with all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe it makes sense to use the only proof of work cryptocurrency that actually has a fair distribution, and that represents property rights for 8 billion people. Maybe we should do that instead of adding,
Do you
data.
think that that tweet by Brian Armstrong is basically just showing that he understands that what he's doing is just rugging people by promoting all these other cryptos?
Yes. Yes. 100%. Like he's not, he's not dumb. Like you can really look at him. He looks like Professor Xavier from the X-Men. You know what I mean? He's got a big chrome dome. You don't have a small brain with a head that big. So this guy knows what he's doing. He's running an amazing casino, and casinos are very profitable operations. You make money on every transaction, a buy or a sell. And, they're also adding more financial products. They're probably going to let people loan against their Bitcoin, all sorts of different stuff. But Brian is probably going to start doing, because Coinbase is a public company, he's probably going to start doing the MicroStrategy strategy, and when he does do that, he's not going to sell convertible bonds to then buy XRP or Cardano. He's going to buy Bitcoin because he knows that that's the only thing that actually has a lot of real value.
Yeah.
Why it's 62% of the entire market.
It's interesting because we're seeing so much blowback from people like Brian Armstrong, even who most Bitcoiners, I think, would consider as a Bitcoin enemy with the way he runs Coinbase and the things that he says. So even these people that most like diehard Bitcoiners think are pretty bad are giving a lot of blowback to this crypto reserve. So if anything, maybe that's a silver lining. Maybe that's like a little bit of hope that it won't be as bad as we think. But I have no idea what the percentage breakdown is going to be. Do you want to take a guess for us?
Yeah, I think likely it would be maybe the top 10 cryptos they're going to put in there with emphasis on American-made crypto and Bitcoin. And it'll be market cap maybe heavier to BTC than just regular market cap weighted, but something like that. And my reasoning for that is because they've shown some favoritism, or Trump has, with the tweet, right? With just talking about 5 different cryptocurrencies. But I think if they actually really decide, like, okay, we're going to buy this amount of this thing, then people are really going to there's going to be more pushback to that, because it's more like market manipulation. It's like favoritism for certain assets that are private or, somewhat private or whatever. So if they just say, oh, it's just market weighted, then that they kind of wash their hands clean of that. So that would be my opinion just going into this. Of course, just speculation. I'd be curious though to hear, Dan, you asked the question, but I'd be curious to know your answer for how they're going to fund this. Do you have any thoughts on that?
So there's a couple different options that I see. And one of the options that I think at least has a little bit of potential is that they don't buy any more Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, or any of those, right? All they do is take the stuff that they're confiscating from places like the Silk Road or whatever, and they just decide to keep it. And the reason why Trump tweeted that was maybe to help pump the bags of the people that gave him money. That would probably be a very easy way for him to feel like he's giving back to we'll call them the crypto scammers that are giving him lots of money without having to do much. So that's a possibility. It could be that it's being funded by the tariffs. That would kind of be a worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Even buying Bitcoin with tariffs, I'm not even sure that would be a good thing.
I don't think so. I don't think it would be a good idea either. It was just something I threw out there because I don't have a good answer for it. But I think you might be onto something with the seized crypto, because oftentimes, I mean, we're dialed into like Bitcoin, right? And it is the lion's share of the seized crypto digital asset. There's a lot more seized Bitcoin than anything else, but they do have a lot of seized ETH and other cryptocurrencies. So they could just move that from the Department of Justice to some sort of new treasury type position and call it a day. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're acquiring anything else. Like there hasn't explicitly been said that yet.
And if that were the situation, I wouldn't really be unhappy about it if the United States government steals some or acquires some shitcoin and decides to keep it forever. fine. I really couldn't care less. The big thing that I think is really important is that if the United States is going to try to acquire something as a strategic reserve or with a strategic purpose, there's only one cryptocurrency that has a strategic purpose, and that's Bitcoin. So
Totally.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you guys. Do you think that this last week's price, drawdown, the shakeout before the pump, do you think that was partially orchestrated to knowing that there was going to be this pump, or this tweet by the president, who's the most influential person in the market, knowing that was going to happen, or was that tweet a response to the lowered price action?
If I had to guess, and I have no idea, but if I had to just guess, I would say that the tweet was more likely to be a response to the price action. What do you think, Jen?
I personally don't think it would be either, but I'll give you my opinion. So I think that the price action was a drive of global liquidity. Unfortunately, it's been going down. And if we look at like the 70-day and the 40-day lag, it kind of tends to follow that. Another part of it is short-term holders, people who bought over 100,000. They're just not as educated as they need to be. They buy things without learning about them. They get scared. They panic. The fear and greed index was below 10, which is crazy, by the way. Awesome buying opportunity for the few of us that do get it. And in terms of the pump that came afterwards, if anything was orchestrated, I think that the fact that Cardano and all these other coins went up so much, I saw some tweets talking about how there were some whales who were doing 50x leverage on Bitcoin, 50x leverage on Solana, hours before the tweet came out. Then the tweets come out. You want to talk about maybe something weird going on in the market. I'm not saying I know for sure, but if I had to guess, maybe Eric Trump or someone was able to be like, hey, Dad, before you send that tweet out, let me make sure I set my positions. Okay, go ahead, send it. So I wouldn't be surprised in terms of what these guys will do for a quick buck.
So if that's the scenario, do you think we should be expecting another rug pull for those coins in the near future?
There's always going to be a rug pull for those coins. I mean,
it's a more dramatic rug pull, I guess.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, dude. At the end of the day, I think what we're going to see is slowly, like usual, just slow trends down in all these other alts. Anyone that's watching this, the truth is, because a lot of people always try to do gotchas. Altcoins will probably outperform Bitcoin in the short run. You know what I mean? Like, look at them today. Yeah, they're outperforming. Because their market caps are a lot smaller, so it's easier for them to outperform. But in the long run, if you price them in Bitcoin, they're going to continue to get smoked. So my challenge to you is come back in 4 years, compare the price in Bitcoin, priced in Bitcoin, and then we'll see what's up.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but I know all of those coins that he just mentioned 4 years ago. If you look at the price in Bitcoin, they've been tanking nonstop, every single one. I think the best performing is like maybe Solana, and I think that that's down like 60% or something like that.
Yeah, it's the people use this analogy of like Bitcoin being a perfect battery where nothing leaves the system, and how fiat is like a leaky battery. There's like a small leak and it leaks all the way to like almost nothing, right? And crypto is just the same as fiat in that same way. If it's not as sound of money as Bitcoin, which it's not because of all the different principles, different aspects that make Bitcoin perfect sound money, and the crypto equivalents don't have that. It just continues to leak energy as well. And the difference between something that doesn't leak energy and something that does, even if it's a tiny percent, is infinite in the long term. So it just takes time, but all these things trend to zero against Bitcoin.
Yeah, and they've been trending to zero since pretty much the time that they started. So
yeah.
Yeah, wow. I'm just still flabbergasted by how bad or how insane this news is. Do you think there's going to be any political pushback from any of Trump's followers?
Trump's followers, probably not. Obviously from the other side, yeah. But actually from like the mainstream media and from the other side, I haven't seen a lot of pushback against like even the meme coin and stuff. I think they just kind of take it with stride and focus on other aspects. Like, I don't know. Have you guys seen any pushback against his crypto stance? I haven't really
I
seen any
have.
of it.
So I actually did a video on that. So there
Okay.
was a MSNBC video that I reacted to. It was Stephanie Rule talking with Guy Fawkes and some other guy, and they were talking about how bad the crypto reserve idea was in the first place. And their big explanation of why it was bad was because Hawk Tuah coin was a scam. So they said that if Hawk Tuah coin was a scam, then a Bitcoin strategic reserve bill was also going to be a scam. And right, it doesn't make sense. It's like, I think the analogy that I gave is it's saying that you need to cancel Diddy Kong from Donkey Kong, the video game, because P. Diddy is not a good character anymore. So
Just name association.
yeah, it has nothing. One has nothing to do with the other. So there is definitely a lot of pushback on the left for that, and I think that a lot of the people that were giving the pushback for that, one, they don't understand the differences between all the different cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. To them, they think it's all the same, and then two, just the way that politics works in the United States, at least. Whenever person on the one side does anything, person on the other side has to say it's bad, regardless if they believe it or not.